My name is Trixie Cruz-Angeles, and we're doing this for Luminous, not just for the Facebook page now, but also for our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and share. Don't forget to click the thumbs up and to also share this, share it preferably on Facebook. I will be looking at your comments and answering your questions. Ayun, meron ng sound. Yay! Success! All right. We have new information on this one. On, di ba, the NTF ELCAC actually, di ba, began a lot of their strategic operations mostly last year. At least last year, nararamdaman na natin sila. And they had stepped up their counter-propaganda to the propaganda of the underground, of the communist insurgency. A lot of their propaganda is stated o sinasabi ng mga legitimate front organizations nila, such as but not limited to, or at least that's what they're saying, ay yung mga or not just their front organizations, yung mga organisasyon na may connection or may simpatiya para sa kanila. So hindi natin sinasabi na lahat ng magsasabi o nagre-reiterate ng kanilang propaganda ay ibig sabihin konektado sa kanila. Ang sinasabi natin is, one way or another, natutulungan sila ng mga sinasalita o even yung mga action ng mga tao na one way or another either may simpatiya o may direct connection sa kanila. Ngayon, ang military natin, sila lang, military at saka PNP, sila yung inaasa na lumaban dito sa insurgency because this is an ongoing rebellion. Diba? And a rebellion is a crime. So, pero hindi naman lahat ng laban tungkol dito, hindi lang naman lahat ng insurgency movement ay ginagawa sa bundok, tawag nila sa kanayunan. Hindi naman lahat ito nangyayari sa barilan. Part of their work is raising funds so that they can continue to wage the warfare in the countryside and to continue converting people doon sa kanilang ideology, sa kanilang gustong mangyari, and eventually for the takeover of the government. Kasi let's face it, no matter what they say, ang ultimate na kanilang puntirya dito is to take over the government. Ganun lang talaga because that is the nature of their ideology and that is how they're going to conduct their warfare. Ngayon, bakit mahalaga ito? Well, dun sa non-combat situations, meron din silang ginagawa, di ba? So, dun sa ginagawa nila is yung radicalization na tinatawag natin. They radicalize the youth, they proselytize, tawag natin. Parang religion yan eh. You try to convert as many people as possible to your cause. So, pagka marami na kasi, so yun yung stage nila, parati silang nagpaparami. Ngayon, alam nila, kahit anong proselytization nila, mahirap labanan ang what do you call this, popular culture. Popular culture is we are capitalist, kung malakas kang, kung magaling ka, edukado ka, you get a good job, or magaling ka sa negosyo, you're going to make it big. So yun ang yun yung prevailing paniniwala natin and mahirap labanan yon. Kasi talaga namang yung pagka sila naghihikayat na sumali doon sa kanilang cause, para ka na ring sumuko, parang ka na ring nag-take ng vow of poverty. Diba? Kasi ang nangyayari dyan is, well, mamumundo ka, o kaya nasa NGO ka, o kaya nag-community organizing ka. Ang nangyayari is most of the time, alam mo na hindi ka nayayaman. Yun na yun. That's it. Hindi ka nayayaman hanggang ganito na lang kayo. Well, the problem with that is, yun nga, nagiging konti lang yung nare-recruit. Okay, so if that were the case, how do they survive? They have other activities. Yung activities nila include yung extortion. So, dun sa revelations ni Ka Eric sa Senado, alam natin na nagko-conduct sila ng ganong klaseng extortion / co-conspiracy o conspiracy with major corporations, lalong-lalo na with the telcos and yung mga construction companies na kailangan may mga proyekto dun sa mga areas na hinuhold nila. Okay? just comment in the comment section, and we might read them out loud, or we will answer your questions. Okay? So don't forget to like and share po this video. All right. So in the meantime, very aggressive, and in fact buong tapang humarap ang NTF ELCAC at saka si Ka Eric doon sa kanilang sa Senate hearing. But even before that, nag-conduct ng press conference si Ka Eric, nagpa-interview siya sa radyo, he was definitely going all out para ilabas yung mga impormasyon na dati nilalabas lang ng NTF ELCAC. Ngayon, there was somebody who's an actual witness na nilalabas yung mga ganito. Okay, so, but we did not expect, of course, na hindi sasalungatin ng kabila yan. So, ang unang line of defense ng kabila, ng mga sympathizers with the insurgents themselves, the organizations that are linked to them, sila yung umpisa ng ito, red tagging. Red tagging daw, red tagging. So, yun yung first line of defense nila. Ang problema, panis yun. It is very, very weak. Okay? So, weak yung defense na yun, ay red tagging. Kasi ano ba naman ang sinasabi nilang red tagging? Red tagging daw is, pag tinatawag daw kasi silang komunista, nagmumukhang NPA na daw kagad sila, o kaya terorista. And therefore, that puts their lives in danger. Which of course is not true. Kasi may endanger lang yung buhay ninyo kapag, endanger lang ang buhay nila if they were committing a crime. Pagka may itsura lang that they're committing a crime, or even may suspetsya lang tayo that they're committing a crime, they won't even be arrested. As a matter of fact, without further evidence than that, they can't even be investigated. Okay? So, pero hindi rin nag-work. Red tagging ang sinasabi nila. O nagka-Senate investigation, pero talo naman sila dun sa investigation na yon. Diba? They were not able to push their agenda too much kasi wala sila eh. Wala doon yung mga mismong mga itong mga mismong makabayan bloc who felt alluded to the red tagging issue. Hindi sila dumating. Ang sabi nila, marami na daw silang nagawa at hinihikayat nila ang Senado, wag daw magpapagamit dito sa sa NTF ELCAC at sa AFP. Okay, so anong ibig sabihin nun? Tulad nga ng sinabi ni Senator Lacson, eto may mga akusasyon sa inyo, tapos hindi ninyo sasagutin. Ibig sabihin, hindi ninyo kinontra, hindi ninyo dininay. And therefore, what does that mean? It means that the accusation stands. Ganun po din sa korte. Kapag tumestigo ang isang panig, tapos hindi mo kinontra, hindi mo kinontrovert, yung tawag namin doon, then that means that the accusation, it becomes a fact. Kasi hindi ka nag-deny. You're given an opportunity to deny, and if you don't deny it, then it will stand. So sabi ni Senator Lacson, nagkakaroon ngayon ng credibility. Mas nagkakaroon ngayon ng credibility ang NTF ELCAC and their witnesses, not just Ka Eric but the other witnesses who were with him. At yung mga allegations include na itong mga to ay nangre-rape din sila ng kanilang mga recruit. Okay? Among other things. Okay? So marami ngayon. Ngayon, there is what we call a rising sentiment against the communist insurgency. Hindi lang dahil pumapatay sila, hindi lang pumapatay ng mga sundalo, pero hinihikayat ang ating kabataan na mamundok uli, o mamundok, at wala na, tapos na kinabukasan nila, they're resigned, hindi sila makakatapos, they might get a criminal record, and all that. Okay? Ngayon, what's the new information? So, sa madaling sabi, doon sa Senate hearing, mukhang talo sila. At alam nila yon, mukhang talo sila kasi hindi nila kinontrovert, hindi sila naandon to say no, wala man lang silang yan si Ka Eric, hindi yan credible kasi ganito siya, drug dealer siya, or whatever it is they're trying to say on social media. They were not able, and they did not at all try to say that or even send somebody na pumunta dun sa Senado at magsabi, oy, ikaw Ka Eric, kilala kita, hindi ka insurgent and all that. They had the chance to do that, hindi nila ginawa. And as a matter of fact, yung mga reactions later on, sinabi ni Teddy Casino, Oo, magkakilala kami pero ang tagal-tagal na nun. Oo, may mga ganon. Yung iba, sumasagot sa Facebook at sinasabi na, ha, paano mangyayari na nandun si Ka Eric? Samantalang ganito yung nangyari on that day, etc. So, in other words, yung sagot ng kabila only ends up confirming na merong alam talaga si Ka Eric tungkol sa operations nila, tungkol dun sa mga taong nandun. Okay, now we come to the new part. So mukhang talo sila. According to sa isang source namin, and we have confirmed this with some of the insiders, mayroon ngayon gumagalaw. Mayroon ngayon, teka, tinitignan ko yung aking source material. Tinitignan ngayon nila. Yun, okay, found it. Merong sinasabi, eto, may national at regional SOG. Yan. What is an SOG? Special Operations Group. May gumagalaw daw na Special Operations Group at nag-meeting sila. O, tignan nyo. May information na nag-meeting ang Special Operations Group ng NPA. Today daw nangyari or yeah, early this morning. Ngayon, na kumakalap ng mga impormasyon. So gumagalaw yung kabila and they're trying to get information kaugnay sa mga tinatawag nilang high priority targets for liquidation. Of course, that means na meron silang gustong papatay. At ang mga targets para patayin ay mga konektado sa NTF ELCAC. Nagtatanong sila sa mga party branches nila sa Tartaria, Kaong, GMA at General Trias. All of these are in Cavite. Okay? So, merong tinatawag pang Los Baños ang grupo na binubuo na bagong Special Operations Group sa Region 4A. This information is what we call A1 information. Ibig sabihin, credible and comes from direct sources. So yan ang nangyayari ngayon. What does this mean? It means that this is expected ha. Unang-una, ibig sabihin, expected natin na gagalaw sila. Expected natin na they will try to silence those people na naglalabas ng impormasyon that is damaging to them. Ano yung first reaction nila sa ganon? Palibhasa, sanay sila sa how do you call this? Sanay sila sa dahas, ang sagot nila, dahas din. So what we're saying here is that, but at the same time, kaya natin natanggap yung impormasyon na yon is, ibig sabihin may mga leaks sila. Ibig sabihin may traitor somewhere in their midst or masyado silang halata sa kanilang mga galawan na umaabot sa atin yung impormasyon. Isipin nyo, kung alam ko itong impormasyon, then one way or another, alam din ng ating mga national security services. So yung mga armed forces natin, alam nila yan. The PNP most likely, alam na rin nila yan by this time. Kasi by the time umabot yan dito sa aming mga civilian, media, kumbaga, that means na nauna na, nabigay na yung impormasyon dun sa mga nauukulan, so yung mga government forces natin, bago yan na isabi sa atin. So what are they saying? They're saying is that, but it's also possible na nilalabas din nila yung impormasyon or they're trying to look like tina-target nila yung mga ilang members ng NTF ELCAC para manakot, para tumigil na dito sa strategiya na ito. Halimbawa, syempre, gusto nilang patahimikin si Ka Eric dahil ang dami masyadong alam. Ang dami masyadong kilala, ang dami masyadong detalye na lumalabas, including things like nagtuturo siya dun sa mga kampanyang ahos, kino-confirm niya yung rapes of the recruits. Kasi pag lumalabas itong impormasyon na ito at umabot dun sa mga potential recruits nila, ano mangyayari? Mawawalan sila ngayon ng adherents. Mawawalan sila ng mga taong maloloko nila. At mas lumalakas ngayon yung puwersa natin sa ating mga kabataan to convince them na wag na kayong mamundok, wag na po kayong makinig naman kayo dun sa alternatives. There are other ways to fight for your country. There are other ways of making a difference. Okay, so this also means na umiinit yung laban. So, ibig sabihin affected yung kabila. Whether they intend this as a pananakot o they intend this talagang may target sila for liquidation, they are reacting and they are reacting in clandestine ways. It means nasaktan sila. It means malalim yung tama at kailangan nilang i-address yung sitwasyon ng ganito. Kasi para sa kanila, I'm pretty sure, the rule of conservation, kung manakit sila ng isa o maglabas man lang sila ng balita na namimiligro na ang buhay ng mga ilang mga tao sa NTF ELCAC, baka magdalawang isip sila, baka tamarin sila. At least yun yung first line nila. If hindi yun mag-work, i-up nila. They'll up the pressure, tapos susuguro yung pwedeng may threat na, magkakaroon na ng death threats, overt threats, may mga magpapadala ng mga text messages, or dati kasi ang kwento nila is magpapadala ng black ribbon dun sa mga taong tinatarget nila for extortion. Oh. So yun yung dating mga reactions nila. That's how they would either start an extortion or threaten people into silence, which we know is illegal, but they're going to do that as a matter of self-preservation para sa kanila. So, why are we talking about this? Well, kumbaga, if we're watching this issue very carefully, there are things that we can do. One is, clearly, natatakot sila. Natatakot sila sa impormasyon na nilalabas ng NTF ELCAC. True or not, they're hurting. They're, in all likelihood, mararamdaman na rin natin after this, yung effect on their recruitment. Dahil nilabas na rin yung pagbabayad ng sa Globe at Smart dito sa mga insurgents natin, baka matigil din yung ibang mga sources ng pondo nila. Magda-dry up yan. As a matter of fact, in all likelihood, nag-uumpisa na mag-dry up yan dahil sa anti-terrorism law. Yung anti-terrorism law kasi pag na-proscribe na yung isang terrorist organization, mere membership, recruitment, even if you just apply to a terrorist organization, then automatically you're already considered in the act of committing a crime. So pagka nagbigay ka ng material aid or benefit dito sa mga terrorist organizations that are proscribed by the Court of Appeals, then that makes you also a criminal. And the penalty for that is imprisonment up to 12 years. So, okay, let's look at your comments. So that's what's happening now. Umaandal sila, they are either threatening the members of the NTF ELCAC or overtly or directly planning means to hurt them. Okay? Oo, ang daming nagre-react tungkol dun sa SOG, sa operations nila, and all of these places, yes, are in Cavite. So the irony is, correct, dineclare daw ni Governor John Vic Remulla na insurgency free ang probinsya ng Cavite. But I think it's a simplistic declaration. Kasi how do you conduct an insurgency? Hindi lang naman barilan yan eh. Hindi lang naman yan yung presence ng mga taong may barel or combatants. It's also, kunwari, pupunta ka kailangan magpahinga o kailangan mong mag-recruit, kailangan mong pumunta sa mga schools, kailangan mong manghingi from your patrons. Not necessarily extortion yan. That's still in the act of committing the crime of rebellion because these acts are necessary to maintaining that rebellion. Diba? So, okay, let's see. Magaganda yung mga comments na nakikita ko, ha? Ang galing. Sabi ni Jex Adrineda na wala ang tapang ng makabayan. That's true. Pero we also have to take into consideration another thing. It's very, very rare. I don't know if I've ever heard that it's happened before na magtetestigo ang isang kongresista doon sa Senado and the other way around. Yung mga senador, hindi sila magpapasailalim sa jurisdiction ng Kongreso. So parang ganun yan eh. They keep away from each other. So and they don't hold each other in contempt. That's interchamber courtesy for them. So hindi rin sila binibigyan ng sabina. Kasi nga interchamber courtesy eh. Magkakakilala sila, they're both considered legislators and they're in co-equal branches of the same legislature. Okay? Sabi ni Efren Jr. Manalo, what do you think the Congress will do? I think they should take it seriously, do something about it given the exposure. Ganito yan eh. It is a tradition for congressmen to band together and to stand together. The same with the senators. So I don't think it would be realistic to expect that congressmen will act against fellow congressmen. Have you ever heard of any congressman being administratively disciplined by the Congress? Di ba hindi? Even if they're already committing crimes, even if they've already been accused, even if they've already been arraigned, hindi, walang gumaganon. Tignan mo si, in the Senate side, si Senator Joel Villanueva, meron siyang kaso, he was administratively disciplined by the Office of the Ombudsman, pero syempre hindi yan, hindi siya sinususpindi or hindi man lang siya nagkakaroon ng kaso for any disciplinary action with the Senate's Ethics Committee. 'Di ba? Even when senators nga file cases against fellow senators like Senator Gordon filed against Senator Trillanes, wala ring nangyayari. So I don't think it would be fair to expect that the leaders of either of these chambers will act against fellow legislators. Hindi mangyayari yan. They will protect each other. Parang honor among thieves, ganun. But they will do that. Don't forget, in almost every congressional or Senate investigation, if a witness or a resource person accuses or even makes a veiled accusation or even answers back impolitely to the investigating senators or congressmen, yung kahit totoo yung sinasabi mo, iko-contempt ka. So, wag natin i-expect na may gagawin ng House or even the Senate. Sabi ni Saturn Feji, mag-set up po kayo ng super chat dito para we can support your cause or channel like how we support Karambola. Sige po, or we can set up the PayPal somewhere here if ever. Sabi ni Annette Alegre D, siguro si Gov. Remulla na walang NPA sa Cavite. Baka naman yung PR rin yun. Maybe he doesn't really know the state of insurgency in his province. Or maybe he knows and syempre, alam nga naman aminin niya yon because that would be a failure on his part. Sabi ni Rain Cloud, ang modus nila ay alamin ang problema ng estudyante tapos kunwari ay kakaibiganin at tutulungan tapos yari na yung bata. That's true. Pero yung ingay na nagagawa natin dito sa social media, making it appear that it is a horrible thing. Not just for not because we disagree with the ideology of with the communist ideology. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just stupid and outdated and not gonna happen. Pero it's more like for their own safety, we have to tell them what they're getting into. And I think umaabot naman. I mean, seriously, the kids who are used to gaming and malls and Netflix, they honestly think many of them will be willing to take to the hills para magutom sila para sa bayan. I don't think so. It's not that easy to recruit. Yun lang pag napasukan ka and the indoctrination begins, ang hirap-hirap rin tanggalin. Sabi ni Noel Del Rosario, bahagang buntot ni Teddy Casino, Sarate at Nato Reyes. I think it was more like they were not prepared. Hindi nila akalain na aabot na sa punto na ganito. Sabi ni Pesto, I can't remember the name, but a congressman was removed before through the Ethics Committee who was expelled, Congressman De Guzman, because he was found guilty of smuggling guns. It wasn't Tecleo, no? Sabi ni Bobby Fajardo, Bobby, were you the one who sent us strawberry cake? Thank you. Isn't it ironic it was the Senate who instigated this hearing? The House should be the ones to call the hearing or investigation on red tagging since the accused are from there, or are they afraid? They'll never do that. They will never put their own congressmen, their own colleagues in danger or in a position where they are accused. They will never take that risk. Or even if they do, can you imagine the resource persons there will all be held in contempt? Diba? Can you imagine? Eric, saying, oy, ikaw, Congressman Sara Ilago, nakita kita dito sa meeting ng ganito-ganto on recruitment. Kasama ka talaga, alam mo yung tungkol sa recruitment. Can you imagine somebody saying that to Sara Ilago, to her face? Or what about somebody saying na, ikaw, Congressman Sarate, ikaw, hindi ka ordinaryong abogado, ikaw yung gumawa ng ganito para sa partido, all that. Why? So the House will not do that. Or even if they do, they're going to stack it against the resource persons. Iko-contempt lang nila ng iko-contempt so they will be put in jail, in the congressional jail, ha? Sabi ni Ate Udeng, NPA is so good at deceiving the possible recruits that you wouldn't know that the recruitment is actually happening. It happened to me at college in UP and at work when the union was set up. I agree. In fact, when I was working with the government before, maraming ganon. There will be people approaching you, asking you to give a talk to the unions and all of that. And you don't know that you're already meeting all of these people, and then they're so nice. Yeah, let's face it, a lot of them actually, the ones in the front organizations or the ones that are accused of being in the front organizations or the ones who are clearly sympathetic, they're actually very nice people. I know many of them personally, but I would not also be the one to say that they are not connected to any of the underground, to the insurgency. Diba? I would not be able to say that at all, given that this is an entire network and they're all connected. You know what? In many instances, it's already impossible for them to say that I don't know. I don't know that we're helping the insurgents. I don't know where the money goes. Hindi. That's not realistic anymore. Pero I believe many of them that they were combatants and that they have come down. They're no longer combatants. They're no longer waging war. Pero remember this, yung RA, the affirmist, they don't deny the armed struggle. Hindi nila dinidenounce talaga yung armed struggle. That's why they cannot denounce the terrorist acts of the CPP, NPA, NDF. Sabi ni Hoven Ong, can we expect some form of martial law? No, really no. Kasi martial law is declared only in instances of lawless violence, state of rebellion, or invasion. So, So, hindi likely Hindi ganito yung conditions for martial law. It has to be a state of lawless violence. Maybe there are instances where they can be declared in certain areas, pero I don't see yet the point. Especially since ganito sila mag-react. Diba? Ibig sabihin, what the NTF ELCAC did was, pinitik sila. Yeah, pinitik sila and they reacted, nasaktan. And yung pitik na yun was a lot stronger than anybody thought. Na the reaction that it generated was this big. Diba? Na they are willing, ito na, naghahanap na sila ng impormasyon tungkol sa mga tao sa NTF ELCAC at sa mga tumutulong sa NTF ELCAC to either commit acts of violence or to threaten them. Diba? Sabi ni Lovely, that's the disappointing fact with our legislative branches. They shield each other even at the expense of the public good. That's true. Ano pong case yung if-file ni Teddy Casino at naghahanap siya ng abogado? I think he wants to file a libel case against Ka Eric. So, I don't know if that will fly. But, nobody can stop him from trying. There's some lawyers I know who disagree with Teddy Casino's posting na naghahanap ako ng abogado because the lawyer who will respond could also be accused of ambulance chasing. At least that's the theory of some other lawyers. Sabi ni Jex Adineda, 400 million para kay Joma, sana all. Well, it's very expensive to live in Europe. Sabi ni Ma'am Annette, siguradong sigurado. Hindi, nabasa ko na pala yun. I'm looking at your other comments. Hi from Simon Orig, saying hi from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Sabi ni Ian Abella, hindi sila dumalo sa Senate hearing sabay, nagpaka-busy kunwari sa pagdadala ng relief goods. Fake moves talaga. At halata naman sila And ang nakakainis dyan is, parang ini-expect niyo ba na hindi namin makikita yung hindi ka mahahalata ng ganyan? That's really, it's disappointing to find out that that's what they think. Na they think na ganun tayo katanga. So, looking for, sabi ni Don Sadik, is there a way para mapapunta sila sa Senate hearing? They can't be compelled kasi nga of interchamber courtesy. I don't think they can be compelled at all. Hindi gaya ng nating mga hampas lupa, mga resource persons, o yung mga government heads. O kunwari, remember when Nick Faldon was testifying before the Senate and he was so pikon na, ayaw na niya. He said, di na ako pupunta. So inissuean siya ng subpoena ni Senator Gordon that if he doesn't appear, and then if he doesn't appear, he would be found in contempt and then jailed. And that's what they did. But they don't do that to fellow legislators. Sabi ni Ma'am Lorna Trinidad, si Angel tahimik din. That's true. Sabi ni Red October, was anyone killed after being red tagged in the past? Why are they afraid of being red tagged if it's an open secret that they are reds? Invento eh. Actually, ganito sila. They're banking on the fact that most people don't understand what red tagging is. Yun lang. Parang, but if you look closely, especially at Teddy Casino's explanation, if you're called a communist, communist equals terrorist, and therefore, baka i-operate sila ng AFP. Hello, the AFP will not operate on them without any evidence. The AFP will not kill them if they're not in the act of committing a crime. And they certainly cannot be arrested unless there is probable cause, unless they have a warrant of arrest, or unless they're in the act of committing a crime. Naman! That argument falls flat on its face. Pero they're counting on the fear factor that most people don't understand that red tagging in this day and age of the free marketplace of ideas, people already know what it means to be a communist. Most people know that it is not a crime. It's just really baduy by this time if you're still subscribing to that. So, parang ganon. They misjudge the times. But so far kasi that is their only means right now, their only way to defend themselves by accusing the accusers of red tagging. Sabi ni Lee Lau Lim Astete, so if those accused will not show up in the Senate hearing, kakasuhan na lang ang mga accused sa court, ano ang mga pwedeng gawin? Wait, nobody is accused in a Senate hearing or in a House hearing. It's just an investigation. And as a matter of fact, the persons being investigated, it isn't the Makabayan bloc. The ones who are being investigated are the NTF ELCAC. Okay? So, if there is evidence, then the testimonies will be forwarded to the proper investigative authorities. In this case, possibly the ombudsman. If the investigating committee thinks that a crime has been committed or is being committed. Remember that what they're looking at isn't the crime of rebellion. It isn't the communism that they're investigating. They're investigating the NTF ELCAC for red tagging. Binabaliktad talaga eh. Sabi ni Mini Vlog, punitik si Angel, pero bakit di nila kasuhan si Ka Eric? Nang hihingi na naman sila ng donasyon, saan mapupunta yung pera? Sa mga friends niyang aktivista? Tigilan na nila tayo. Agree. Ang nakakainis niyan is their activism. I'm not sure if it, ang sinasabi kasi ni Teddy Casino, marami nang naidulot yung activism nila. Like, dati mag-ano sila, fuel price rollback, certain rights daw na naisulong nila, yung mga activism nila has brought things like the Safe Spaces Act, mga ganyan. A lot of our laws have been changed because of their activism. And ako, I don't mind. That's the nature of activism. Pero wag naman nilang sabihin na sila lang yon. Kasi marami naman kaming naghikayat ng change. And yes, even to this day, I would still consider myself an activist, but mostly for heritage conservation. Sabi ni Sir Saturn Feji, CPP-NDF is really good at recruitment or indoctrination. Way back in my UP days, pasimple mga ways nila to make you feel guilty na makasarili ka at di mo iniisip ang bayan. Idealistic pa naman ang youth. Oo, naalala ko, yung tawag nila sa amin pag hindi kami sumali sa rally, apathetic. That was the worst thing that you could be called when you were in UP. Diba? You remember those days? Sabi ni Avelino Taroy, if ma-justify na may link talaga sila, sa CPP-NPA, ano ang magiging action ng Congress sa kanila? Again, to not expect our legislators to do anything. Besides, that's not their job. Ang magiging action will be for the Anti-Terrorism Council first to declare them administratively as a terrorist organization or terrorist group, and then later file for a proscription with the Court of Appeals para this becomes something like an official declaration. It's like a law na itong mga to terorista na ito. And then you can begin the investigation on recruitment, on people who give aid and material benefits, yun, yung mga yan. So, yung sinasabi mong if ma-justify, where i-justify yan? Basta what's important is there is evidence that comes out that can lead to their declaration and then subsequent proscription. Sabi ni Jex, can you please elaborate what is communism and why do they think it would benefit the Philippines? Okay. Very simple, reducing it to simple terms, is that they believe that the cause of poverty is owning private property. And if you eliminate private property, meaning you only own things that you need and you get only things that you need, and everything else belongs to the state acting on behalf of the people. Yun. There is the absence of private property. Everything is owned by everyone. Common, in common. That's why it's communism. It is communal. The entire group owns everything and no individual owns anything. Why do they think it will benefit the Philippines? That part still escapes me right now. Parang para sa kanila kasi masyadong malaki yung disparity between rich and poor, and capitalism doesn't bridge that. And that since all men are created equal, then all men must also own everything equally. Simplistic view, very, very simplistic, reduced to basic terms. I mean, there are nuances that I haven't included, but that's basically what it is. Sabi ni Season di ba nag-file ng case si General Parlade sa COMELEC laban sa 6 na leftist na congressmen? I have to verify that. Ang alam ko, so far, Gabriela ang nakasuhan. Sabi ni Pet's channel, members of Makabayan Bloc have all the time in the world, all the time to practice and synchronize how they will debunk all the revelations of their former comrades. Yeah, but good luck trying to being successful in that. Sabi ni Ate Udeng, yes, I remember that. Tatawagin kang walang paki kapag di ka sumali sa rally sa UP. Yeah. Pero para naman pwede akong sumali. Ang tatay ko nasa military, di ba? And it's also, I wanted to help change things. Pero hindi ko nakikita kung, yung allure ng underground or yung mga, yung activism. Nagsisympathize ako sa cause nila noon when I was in UP. I just didn't think that my parents would let me out of the house for that long period, for the long periods of time. Yun lang mag-overnight ka sa bahay ng kaklase, katakot-takot na paalaman pa di ba? So, at the time, hindi ako nahikayat talaga. Sabi ni Ma'am Lita Garados, anong pwedeng gawin ng COMELEC sa mga party list if napatunayan na part talaga sila, member sila ng NPA, CPP, NDF? First of all, proving membership in the NPA, CPP, NDF is going to be difficult, but they don't have to prove that. They only need to prove that either they're giving aid or they are somehow helping. Pwede na yan Kailangan So, witnesses are necessary, and the proceedings in the COMELEC are administrative in nature, meaning you don't have to prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. You only need to give what we call reasonable evidence. So that a reasonable person will think, tumutulong talaga to. Or, itong taong to, baka miyembro talaga to kasi uma-attend siya talaga ng mga meetings with the combatants May mga ganyan. So it's possible. And if that were so, the action is to disqualify the party list. The party itself, not the person. Kasi kung yung person lang i-disqualify mo, papalitan lang yon. So what we're going for is to disqualify the entire party itself. At may proceedings yan. When Magdalo first applied for certification with the COMELEC, dininay sila because they nagkudeta sila. And that is already a record against them. So didinay, sa motion for reconsideration yata nakuha nila. Sabi ni Joseph Del Mundo, even in most communist states, all citizens are equal, just that some are more equal than others. Somebody's been reading Animal Farm. Okay, sabi ni Paper de Jesus, if Makabayan Bloc can't be scrutinized in any Congress hearing, how can the AFP, ELCAC, and ERIC confront them in public? Just because they're part of Congress, they can get away with being part of CPP and BA. Who says they have to be confronted? That's why the Makabayan Bloc is so incensed, because there is no venue for them to be confronted. And even if they are confronted, they don't want that. Matatalo sila. It's the ELCAC that's looking for a venue. It's Congress that doesn't want. And so they can just continue the propaganda kasi eto na, nag-Senate hearing tayo, hindi kayo dumating. That means we can continue whatever the hell it is we're doing that's making you so uncomfortable. Diba? Sabi ni Bel Nadado, it's good that the AFP are now gathering and keeping safe and not giving all evidence they have to the Senate. I agree. Sabi ni Mylene, plano daw po mag-file ng case ni General Parlade sa Rappler. Yes! That's my comment. Sabi ni Noel Del Rosario, wala palang asylum sa Netherlands si Joma. Hindi po nag-overstaying yan. It's called tolerance. So the state, the Netherlands, can just allow him to continue there without an actual status. So as long as their actions don't render him stateless. Hindi naman siya, still considered a Filipino citizen, by the way. Hindi naman siya tinanggalan ng status. And we want to keep him a Filipino citizen para we can bring him to our jurisdiction eventually. Sabi ni Pesto, red tagging would not endanger their lives. Denouncing the CPP, NPA, NDF, denouncing youth recruitment, etc. will, in my honest opinion. Kaya hindi nila magawa. I also agree with that. Okay? So, nitignan ko pa yung other questions. Do you like this format better? Oh, ito, another thing. Could you tell me, give me feedback if you like this venue better, dito sa YouTube better? Because I think mas even yung signal dito sa YouTube as compared to Facebook. So, do let me know in the comment section if this is better for you. Kasi parang para sa akin, parang mas maayos di ba? Yeah, mas stable, di ba? YouTube seems to be a much more stable venue. I-share na lang natin sa Facebook. So, we'll probably do Facebook Live and YouTube Live alternating para we'll grow the following here. Kasi most people are subscribed to Luminous on Facebook, pero dito we'll just have to grow the following here. Sabi ni Rufy Chris Lokia, YouTube is better, maybe you can monetize it later. Yeah, and everybody says, yeah, it's a good idea. Tama, sabi ni Teron James, visit yung mga fact-checkers ng YouTube. You know what's happening? In the US, everybody who's saying or who's posting that a new number of votes were found favoring Biden is being fact-checked. Na restrict yung mga accounts of people who are posting about electoral fraud. So I think, yeah, YouTube is better when it comes to that. And the audio is clearer, I agree. All right, so sige, if you don't have any other questions, I just ask you to like and share this, especially share it on YouTube. Sorry, on Facebook. Also can be shared on other venues like, ano ba to, Big Kiss? Wait, sabi ni Yeng Sabio, they call me apathetic. In return, I call them delusional. Ang hina ng mga makaliwa dito sa UPLB. You're in UPLB? Ang masama nga lang, gumagapang na sila sa mga high schools dito. Great job at explaining. Oy, thank you very much. That's why, that's part of our job as good citizens to keep spreading information. And we can use different means, I'm not saying other than social media, because for most of us, it's really social media. But if we have time to talk to younger people in groups, to tell them that this is what's happening and that they have to be very, 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 very careful out there because nagiging desperado ang mga tao. Um, Also, if wag tayong parating galit or maangas. I mean, of course, it's okay to kind of not be very nice to to yung mga dilaw, yung mga ganon, especially when they're spreading fake news, especially when they're misinterpreting government actions. We can be nasty, pero when talking to the younger audience, we can try both nasty and nice and anything that might be able to convince them, because I think that really the hope lies in keeping most of them safe and away from the possibility that they will be recruited. And then pagka ganon, hindi na sila makakaaral, wala na silang kinabukasan. And can you imagine the trauma on the part of not just the child, but the parents, the family, the brothers and sisters who are left behind? So, sabi ni Teron James, pagdating sa mga dilawan, I'm evil. I understand. Actually, I understand your sentiment. And I think we'll have another discussion on why we are like that. Um, but just keeping within the topic lang muna. But I agree that sometimes kasi if hindi sila makukuha sa santong dasalan, santong sampalan na lang talaga eh. But I'd like to remind everybody to keep our comments and our discussions within the boundaries of the law. So no committing libel, no committing threats. Let's not threaten them. Para nananatili tayong marami. Kasi when they take down their accounts, it doesn't do anybody any good. Tapos sila lang ang maririnig. So remember to keep it within the legal bounds, ha? What is libel? A malicious imputation of a crime, vice, or defect. Or anything you say na nakakasira sa reputasyon ng isang tao would be considered libelous. So ingat-ingat tayo. If it is factual, there's no libel. The exception is, if it is factual and there is no reason to bring it out, kung di yung kasiraan, then that is, even the truth can be libel. For example, a private person, hindi siya public figure or anything, nananahimik and has not done anything to make himself or herself famous or even notorious. Tapos nilabas mo that this person is having an affair, and none of them are public figures, that could be considered libelous even if it's true. Okay? So, general rule, it's libel if it's false and it's a malicious public imputation of a crime, vice, or defect. But some rare instances, even the truth is libel. Okay? When there is no necessity for bringing out that fact. Okay? So, last two comments, sabi ni Lilaw Lim Astete, sila din ang cause kung bakit mabagal umusad ang bansa, iniipit nila yung budget sa mga magagandang proyekto. Oo, even yung mga yung mga upgrade ng equipment ng AFP natin, pinapaano nila, they always try to block it. Buti na lang, ang konti na lang nila. Pero let's not discount the fact that baka may mga kakampi pa rin sila, di ba, na hindi lang natin nakikita. Sabi ni Piper de Jesus when interviewed by Attorney Bruce and company in their TV show, Nery Colmenares nilihis ang issues pinapasa kay Duterte. Was just disappointed that Attorney Bruce and company are nice with their questions. Why kami ay nanggigigil na? Ay, I understand how you feel. Sabi ni Mini Vlog, mahirap po maghinay-hinay kaya po ako may fake account, napapamura ako doon. Well, on that one, I just want you to be careful so that your real accounts, that your accounts don't get taken down. Gusto ko, marami tayong naririnig. Ayoko yung naboblock tayo from venues where we can spread good information and defend this government. Diba? And defend this administration. Bihirang mangyari na magkaroon tayo ng ng Rodrigo Duterte. So, maraming salamat sa pagsubaybay. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And please share on Facebook. Alam niyo, minsan Facebook tries to stop people from sharing Luminous. So our best revenge is to just share anyway. Okay. Maraming salamat. Don't forget to subscribe ha, and get other people to subscribe para mas madalas tayo makakapag-live dito. So maraming maraming salamat. Don't forget like, share. Also, don't forget also to follow on Luminous because yung mga non-videos natin will still be on Luminous. We will look into creating a separate blog para hindi rin tayo dependent masyado on a single venue. Maraming salamat. Have a good weekend, everybody.